Good afternoon. It's been a while since I posted a video. I actually tried to do a video last week, but ran out of steam on corn. I've started corn actually since October 26th, 28th. That was a Saturday. We got our beans taken out of the bin, and I'll post just a quick video of me loading the semi-trailer out of the grain bin. So that was on the 26th of October, and I have this goal of where I do not want to send wet grain to the elevator. So you plant corn, the corn grows, the corn pollinates, it creates kernels, matures, and you get your corn cob. Let's hold on. So once the corn matures and basically it no longer, the plant no longer starts putting in stuff into the kernels, these kernels have a certain water moisture percentage, and it's really wet. So when we shell corn with the combine, we want these kernels to be under 16% moisture. That way it's safe to store in the grain bins, and you don't get docked as much when you take it to the elevator. But you could still take wet corn, whether it's 25%, 20%, but the elevator will dock you because when they dry it, it shrinks, you lose water weight, plus they dock you for the price of drying it, and you usually get a lower test weight if you bring it in wet, and you get docked money. I did the research, and if you dry the corn yourself, even with a fancy grain dryer and using propane or natural gas, as an example, you'll spend $1 of drying the corn instead of taking it to the elevator at 20%, where you will lose $2. So it definitely pays to dry your own grain. Now, I do not have a grain dryer. We have a grain bin that has a false floor where you can blow air through the floor, through the corn, which helps dry it with natural air. Air temperature, relative humidity, which is how much moisture is in the air, you can actually blow that air through the corn and the corn will dry. If you have cooler temperatures with higher humidities, like up to the 80%, you can only dry the corn so much, like maybe to 17 or 18%. I want it at 15%. So we wait for a day that either humidity of like 30%, even 50-degree weather, it'll dry the corn pretty quick. So what I've been doing is what I did 2 weeks ago is I only put 300 bushel in that bin, ran the fan for a few days, got the corn dry. I took that out and put it in a couple of our smaller wagons. Last Friday, I combined some more, put in close to maybe 400 bushel, dried that, and I actually removed that out of the bin what's today? Thursday? Tuesday? Monday. This week I did it. So I didn't do any videos because I'm in a hurry. So we're gonna video today. So I already put in like 100 bushel in the bin. I want to do 500 more bushel. So we're kind of set up to take our little wagon, which will be our grain cart, and we will transport corn from the field here over to the bin, and we'll put it in the bin. And we also have to make sure that the corn is leveled in the bin so the air is uniform through all the corn. So we're going to be doing that today. Also, since we're starting this field here that I started to do, let's do this here, started to do back May 23rd, May 22nd, I have some twin row spots that I think I'm going to try out today. Go through down the field and also go through a single row and compare how much corn I get from doing a twin row versus a single row. Because a twin row is a 38,000 population. Single row, I had it at 32,000 population. So we'll see the quality of the corn and how much corn I get. To back up a little bit, the first field I planted on like May 16th, that's the first field that I combined. And the moisture was around 23%, put it in a bin, took about 6 days to dry. Had to do it off and on. Moisture was over 80, 90%. There was one day it was down to 30%, and the corn dried pretty fast. So we're almost at 50 degrees. It's probably 80% humidity. Should be okay for the first day because the corn will probably be 19, 20% when we put it in. So I'm gonna go get the tractor, our little grain cart, and we're gonna start combining here. Once I put in like 500 bushel today, and hopefully we'll get it dried down by next Wednesday, we'll be able to call the semi and we'll have ourselves 1,000 bushel hauled over to the elevator. And we should be about third done with corn. And next year, hopefully I'll get a grain dryer and we can do this sooner and faster. It's Geek the cat. Oh. It's a cool kitty. Oh. So here's our 2 wagons that we have our dry corn. Each one is probably maybe 150 bushel. That wagon we use to store our stove corn that we burn for heat. So yeah, so we got these 2 wagons here. Here is our second wagon. This one holds over 300 bushel, but I think it's close to the top. This thing's a pain in the ass to get up here, so hold on. Yeah, pretty full. So this is probably over 300 bushel. And here's the grain bin. Brock 18-foot 7 ring with the false floor, 5 horsepower axial fan. And here is my first load. This is about 100 bushel. And I want to fill it up with 5 more of our little wagon there. You can see that when we empty the dry grain out of here, we like to clean it and you get some of those fines. So anyway, this is what we're gonna do today. We're going to combine and put in 5 more wagon loads in here. You can see the ring level right there. So we're gonna be a little bit above those bolts. Turn the fan on and we'll make sure that our temperature 50 degrees and about over 80%. That's pretty high. We want it drier. It is low. We're gonna put the oil in it right now. Can I do this with one hand? No. Right on the full line. All right. That. Make sure this is in neutral. ether. Here's the button. We're going to turn the fan on, but first, let's check out our humidity. That's pretty high. This one says 54. I like that one better. So, the weather app says 77%. So, we're going to have the fan on. Here we got the auger put in. This is a really good, newer, bigger auger that runs faster. That auger right there, that's what we use to load it. It's a little slower, smaller, older. This guy right here, way faster. And since we're only putting in like 500 bushel or so, just do it right through the door. It's real easy. And this thing is real light. I bet my niece can pick this up and move it around. I'll hook it up to the tractor when I get this wagon filled up. While I'm up here to bring the auger in, let's check our fluid. I can see the top of the fluid. I'll still put a little bit in there. And then this guy right here. Holy cow, it's on the end of the stick. So we need to put a bunch in here. On the full line. All right, that's all topped off. I do this by hand because that cylinder connects to there and that broke off. So at some point we'll weld that back on, but too lazy and too busy to do it right now. All right, we're ready to go. Diesel engines, baby. I love them. All right. We'll give this maybe it was 5 minutes or 10 to warm up. While we're letting this warm up, let's find some of these cobs that are on the ground, losing yield. Pick these guys up. Okay, we rescued about 20 cobs. I'm gonna personally rescue like 60 to 70 cobs of all the ears that I pulled to check yield and stuff. So, not that's gonna matter, but it'll just make me feel better. Okay, so we're ready to go. It's just after 1:15, so we need to get going here. There is a row that I planted, twin row, not changing the combine. So my plant population for a single row is 32,000 seeds per acre. Let's just say that the stand, what actually came up, is 31,000. Just over here, I did a bunch of twin rows at 38,000. So I changed it to 19,000, went up, turned around, went back over, in having the corn planter over 6 to 8 inches. That way I can plant more corn, get more ears in a 10-foot span, if you will. But here, I did it without changing it, so it's like 62,000 plants per acre. So I'm going to combine beside it. So I think that's our heavy twin row right there. So I'm going to combine beside it, right there. I'm going to go up and then come down beside the other side. And then we'll take a look at it. And we'll also see how full I am when I come back. What happens when you play with your phone and drive? It's hard to do this with one hand because I constantly have to drive. I make sure I got good speed here. But yeah, doing corn's fun. This is fun. All right, we got to the end of this first pass. That's what we got so far. According to my calculations, from where I started to here is maybe 1,200 feet. This is 10 feet with 4 rows, and a third of an acre, I think, is 1,330 feet. So I just did maybe just under a third of a bushel, a third of an acre. That's what we got. So when we get to the other end, that should be well over that shaft. But now we're going to go on the other side of our super heavy population twin rows. All right, we just made it back from our round. So now we're going to load that up. So we're going to climb up and extend that so it hovers over the wagon. I think when the rear tire matches that rear tire. Try that. This rope. This little lever here. All right. Needed both hands to kind of move the combine back a little bit to fill the front, but we were able to get all of it in there. So it's probably over 100 bushel in there, because I think anything over the shaft there is about 100 bushel. So okay, so we're going to shut her down and we're going to take that wagon in and put it in the bin. connector to the PTO. Right there. All right, there we go. Step back. So we're ready to put this in the bin. So let's get this guy fired up. That's to help kind of spread it a little bit better instead of a smaller pile and this pile's a little wider. Help to level it out. Could use some improvement. See what the moisture is. All right, well that was quick. Somebody does one hand. Okay. Ready for our next wagon load. Okay, we're gonna park right there. It's a little higher. The wagon's a little closer to the auger. We're ready to go. We're gonna drive up to where we were and we're gonna investigate those twin rows and single rows. I'm gonna go down a ways. Corn is iffy. This area right here in this field is very iffy. Nothing grows good in this spot. So I'm gonna go down a ways, then I'll stop and get out and we'll see what we got. Plus I'll tell you how it's doing. We're pretty much towards the end of the row. About half of this twin row is kind of small. Ears are small, but this is a nice area of the field where it's nice and tall. But since I'm down here, I'm just kind of checking for loss. I mean, there's a couple kernels there. If you do the math, it might be like a bushel. Was it 2 or 3 kernels a square foot? You know, there's one there, one there, one there. For this machine, that is super good. There's a bunch there. And I'll tell you what, it's all coming from the head. All these kernels that you see here, it's butt shatter. Pretty much nothing you can do about it. You could slow it down by changing this gear, making it bigger, or making this gear smaller. So all of this stuff here will go slower. So these little guys under here that rotate and pull the stock down, it'll pull it down slower. So that way, when the ears hit this, they don't shatter. So it's the nature of the beast. That's why you want to do this when the corn's wetter, so it doesn't butt shatter as easy. But okay, let's see what we got here. So here are the twin rows. You can see 2 rows there, 2 rows there. Just trying to get more ears per acre. So these ears are smaller. Let me do some comparisons here. Okay, so here's our twin row. These ears are kind of small. Look at this guy. That guy's kind of small. This one's relatively good. This one's kind of small. That one's kind of small. That one's kind of small. Just kind of keep going down here. You know, that's a small ear. That's kind of small. Small, let's go in here. So, these are relatively small. So we go over here to our single row. These are much bigger, longer. Wow, look at this one. So it's probably an 18 or 20 row. So this is 32,000 seeds per acre. Here I went crazy. I went double. So I went like 64. So there are more ears per acre, but the ears are smaller. And the test weight is probably lighter. So you generally do not want to do something like that for your entire field. But what you do want to do is you do want to plant not as, you know, not 64,000, like maybe 38,000. Because again, the stalks, you know, instead of in a row, you got them kind of like nah. And this 30-inch row spacing here, you're trying to use up just a little bit more space within this 10 foot. These 4 rows is 10 foot. So trying again to get more ears per acre, but the trade-off is also, if you're gonna try and raise more ears, you gotta put down more fertilizer and hope to get more rain and shit like that. So even though we're limited on acreages here, we want to try and get the absolute most out of it. Also, I got to go slower to make sure that those rows feed into that one slot. So technically I'm getting more ears, but I just got to take my time so that the stalks can bend and feed into those rows on the corn head. But it is nice to see all those ears flow in. But those ears are smaller. Now, is that more than when I did my first pass an hour ago? Let me go back and look at the video and do a screenshot. The first screenshot is when I made the first pass in the single row, and then the next screenshot is when I did the twin row. And they're pretty close, about the same. Maybe the twin row has a little bit more corn, but I don't know if the single row got leveled out a little bit, you know, because I kind of turned and stuff. But it's not less, that's for sure. So, you know, the corn looks pretty good. But yeah, I think the peak is closer to the shaft than the first screenshot. Okay, so it's getting close to 3 o'clock. I'm running out of time. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to where I started my 38,000 twin rows. And I believe I did, how many did I do? Did I do 3 or 4? 4 areas of 12 rows. But on this side, I'm going to find the last single row, and I'm going to go down along the first twin row and get to the other end. And then I should be, you know, plenty of room up there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to fold up my ladder and then go from there. There's actually more corn on this round than the last round. So doing that super populated twin row and then coming back on some single rows, I got more corn that round. Cool. Will it all fit in the wagon though? had to move it around. I was afraid it was gonna pile up too much corn there. I didn't want it to like slide and maybe tip. So I went and filled up there and just leveled it off. Could not quite get all of it. So that, I could probably fit all of it, but yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Whoa! Quite a bit of weight for this little old wagon. Whoa, look at this tire. Look at that tire. Might need some air. But anyway, yeah, we're going to be careful going forward here. We got it. That tire is definitely soft. We'll put some air in that. There. Put some air in those tires. That wagon's full. 20% corn. That's 100. It's over 100 bushel. It's 5,600 pounds. That's probably 3 tons in there. All right, second wagon. See what we get. Okay, we're trying it. I think I got time for one more load. That's number 2. I'm actually gonna move the whole auger over like maybe 5 or 10 feet to kind of fill up more of the front. That would be easier to level, faster to level, I guess. So I'm gonna unhook. I'll move the tractor over 5 feet, and then we'll go. I'll move all that later. Let's get our last wagon first. It's 325. It's gonna take me 45 minutes to fill that up. I forgot to put air in the tires, but I'll only spend 10 minutes on it. Let's go. There, that's a better spot. Pretty much the tire was like right there on that fucking ledge. It made the fucking wagon do something like that, or like something. Anyway, it's right there. We're gonna do our twin row thing later. Since I'm up against it on time, I'm just gonna do one round in the single rows. I got that patch right there, and then I'll just do 4 over there. Empty this, call it a day, because I still gotta unload this. And then level the bin, and then get the auger out, close the doors. But I'll probably leave the fan on. We got 20%, 22% corn. I think the air's dry. Sun's out, feels dry. That's good. Here we go. Run our pass back just after 340. And it is tough to do this with one hand. This has to be some of the best corn that we raised on this side of the farm. I'll tell you what, we haven't got to that side yet, which is where I spread some of the ammonium sulfate nitrogen. So it should be better over there than here. We're gonna plant some 100-day corn, so that'll be on the other side of the road. This will be behind the house, where the beans were this year. I'm also going to get some 90-day corn. I'm going to basically see how well the 90-day does. Also to the effect of how much sooner the corn will be ready to harvest. I'm also thinking of my go-kart track field, which is only 2 acres. Turn that into a corn plot and get like a bag of different seeds and varieties, and I'll plant 4 or 8 rows of it and see how well those varieties do. Because I'm looking for something that does good in twin row. Higher population, but not like 40,000, but like 35,000. Something that has like an upright leaf. I also want to try and do intercrop. I was thinking of doing that on the go-kart field. To be honest, I still don't know what I want to do. I want to have a farm meeting with my brother. Get his input. Maybe he'll talk me off of some crazy shit. So I'm constantly changing my mind on stuff. You know, also get with Dan and Doug, get their input. Also find out what they're doing. But so far so good. This has been so far a good year. But again, it all depends on the weather. I'm all excited for next year, but that's because of what has happened this year. It could be a fucking downpour, or it could be a goddamn desert island. So, who knows? Let's get this done first. Just a little bit less than the last load, which is good, because I need to fit all of it in there. Cool. All right, here we go. Okay, we got it. Not too bad. Except for that last round, the first wagon was, god damn it. Definitely the second wagon was fuller than the first and the third wagon. So I'm gonna hop in here and just so I feel better, get some of that out of there. All right, there. We'll run the separator, run the auger, clear me out. I'll shut it down. It's almost 4 o'clock. I got 30 minutes to take this over, put it in the bin, pull the auger out, level the corn, come home, get cleaned up, and be on the road. Good enough. Huh? take this in. Whoa. We're not moving the tractor yet. We come over here. Weather app says 51 degrees, 59% humidity. So this fancy guy is pretty close. This is not close. Or magically, okay. Now it's under 50 degrees. That's it. Weather app says 51. Cool. That says, what, above 50 there? Who knows where that's at? Could be wetter. I'll probably swap these and then let this equalize out and adjust it from there. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna move this guy back. That way this gets filled up a little more closer. And then we'll hop in here and we'll level this. All right. All right, like 10 after 4. This back quite a bit. Oh, right there. Dusty. This is the third load. Pretty much 21%. All right. That is unloaded, augers out of the way. I still gotta level the bin. It is 4:30. So I think when I'm done here, I'm just gonna go straight to Susan's. So I'll get there dirty, but I don't think she'll care. All right, let's level this bitch out. Corn leveled. It is 4:45. So I am on my way to Susan's, and I think I'm gonna pick up subs. So yeah, fan is on. It's 50 some degrees, 60% humidity, but it doesn't matter because the corn's 21%. I think I'm gonna leave the bin on, the fan on all night, regardless of what the percentage is, but I will monitor that as well. Whew. I think we got more corn in there than the last batch, because I think the last batch we had like maybe 400 bushel, and basically we have 4 of those wagons in there full. So if that wagon is a little bit more than 100 bushel, then yeah, there's over 400 bushel in there. So between that and the possible over 600 bushel that we have dry in our 3 wagons, we will hopefully get that corn. Anybody coming? Fucking sun's in my face. I hate this fucking sun. Need it though. All right, so we're hoping to get that dry by Wednesday. And then we'll take the remaining corn, we'll dump it back in the bin, so the bin is full of corn, and then we'll get the semi over and dump it all in the semi, which will take 45 minutes because of the auger, and it's awesome and stuff. So yeah, I think we're just about a third done. And if it's like over 100 bushel to go up and down, so let's say it's 110 bushel and it's like 0.6 acres. I'll have to do the math, but I think it's well over 150 bushel average. But you know, the end rows, the borders, there's nothing there. But like I said, just combining that corn in that field, it just seems like it's better this year. It could be a contribution of putting more fertilizer down, you know, a little bit more P&K ahead of time, and then I use nitrogen as my starter, but I don't think that's a good way to go. So we're gonna change it up next year, big time. Deep tillage with the chisel plows, I think that also has a lot to do with it. Plus planting early. Basically 2 weeks earlier than we've ever done. So that could be also a key factor as well. But yeah, next year is just, depending on the weather cooperates, we're gonna do really good next year. So, all right, that's it for now. We'll maybe this is it. Maybe this is the last time you'll see me. But was able to post something. I want to post something with the corn since I haven't did any corn stuff those last 2 weekends. So, all right, people. See you later.